Hi everyone, and welcome back to another edition of CityVision. I'm Mark Murray. On today's show, our focus is the Hamilton Police Department, and up first we're going to talk about the technology that helps them do their hard job just a little bit better. And to do that, I've got with me today Public Affairs Supervisor Sergeant Craig Buchheit and Police Technology Officer Rick Miller. Craig, first questions to you. Tell me about the technology that's helping things along these days.
Well, technology's made a lot of advancements in the past 10 years, and not just with police work, but in our day-to-day lives. It's changed the way we do business. It's changed the way we bank. It's certainly changed the way we stay in touch with family and friends. Police work is just no exception to those changes. We're actually getting ready to roll out two initiatives with the police department. And in my experience, the change in technology has affected law enforcement mainly along the lines of information, either getting information out or gathering information. So the two new initiatives that we're working on, the first deals with getting information out. And it's a very simple concept. There's nothing novel about it. It is creating a Twitter page for the police department.
Okay, now I'm sure in some way most of our viewers have probably heard about Twitter, but what is it really, and how does one go about getting I guess you have to have a Twitter account?
You do, and honestly, a month ago I couldn't answer that question for you because frankly I had no idea what Twitter was myself.
Okay.
But what I've learned is that Twitter is a social network site that's internet-based. What it allows people to do is go to the site, create an account, and then select to follow different entities, whether it be their favorite celebrity, sports figures, businesses, and here in a couple weeks, the Hamilton Police Department will be an entity that they can choose to follow. How it's going to work is people will go to the Hamilton Police Department website, and on our website there will be a link that they can click on. That'll take them to Twitter. If they already have an account, they can just choose to begin following the police department. If they don't have an account, then there is a simple step-by-step process that they can go through to create an account. And either way, once their account's up and running, when they're following the police department, what they can expect is to receive updates a couple times a week from the police department. And those updates are going to cover a wide variety of topics, anything from a major traffic issue like the train derailment that occurred a couple months back.
Sure.
In that particular case, we had a train derailment that had several crossings blocked, and we knew those crossings were going to be blocked for an extended period of time. So this tool will allow us to get information out to people who are following us, and a lot of people who are following Twitter, whether it be the police department or another entity, they get updates on their handheld devices. So if you're stuck in traffic or you're trying to get to work, you can. This would allow you to receive an update, kind of have an idea what's going on. That way you can make an educated decision about maybe going a different route or finding an alternate way to get home or get to work. Other items that we will be sending out will be some of the training we offer through the police department. We have carrying concealed weapon classes that we offer. We have basic and advanced classes. We also offer self-defense classes. We even have a women's only self-defense class. So as these classes become available to the public, we can make these posts and keep people updated on when they're available. One other area that we regularly receive information on is scams or get-rich schemes. They don't change a lot in concept. I mean, the concept is trying to beat somebody out of their money, but they do. There are trends, and they do seem to, over time, kind of change as far as their tactics. Maybe they're soliciting money for a charitable cause, but in essence, there actually is no charitable cause that they're actually soliciting money for. So phishing schemes, where they're trying to get personal information from you, bank account information, social security numbers that they can use then to victimize unsuspecting folks. So when these trends appear, we can get that information out, with the idea being that an informed public is less likely to be victimized.
And you can do all this through Twitter?
We can. And we know there's going to be a number of people who are following us on Twitter, but we also know that in addition to the folks who are following us, when that information gets out there, they're going to share it with their friends and family. And again, the more people we can keep informed, the less victims we think there'll be out there. And ultimately, it's going to help us do our job and keep people safe.
What else?
Well, the other initiative that we're looking at is at the other end of the information spectrum. Rather than getting information out, this is going to help us get information in, and that is ALPR, which stands for Automated License Plate Reader. And what that technology allows is for a single officer to gather a vast amount of information, actually process that information into a usable product, something that we can utilize to help us do our job more effectively. And again, with the ultimate goal of keeping the public safe. And Rick is actually spearheading that project for us. He knows the nuts and bolts behind that initiative, and he can talk a little bit more in detail about how it's going to work.
Okay, well, great. Well, Rick, tell us more.
The automatic license plate recognition system includes 3 cameras that's actually mounted on the police vehicle. The cameras feed the data into a computer system that's actually in the trunk of the car.
And now that technology has to be kind of expensive, so how is this funded?
Hamilton is part of the Butler County SoSync region, which is southwestern Ohio, southern Indiana, and northern Kentucky. It's 12 counties that's part of the region. We received a Homeland Security grant to purchase 29 units, and Hamilton was lucky enough to receive one of these. There's currently 45 agencies participating in the program, Cincinnati being the biggest one.
Okay, well, how specifically does it work? I mean, we've mentioned the cameras, but I mean, there's got to be some equipment on the inside of the vehicle, I guess.
Correct. The cameras reads every license plate it sees, feeds this data into the computer. The computer compares it to a database. Our databases are LEADS NCIC, which is databases we use regularly for stolen vehicles. If it gets a hit, meaning that there is a stolen car, the officer will verify via his MCT, his mobile computer in his car, to verify the data is correct, that it's not a false read, and then take the proper enforcement action.
Okay, now it's reading all the time, but what if an officer sees a vehicle or happens to have a number that they can input? Can local data be input?
Yes, it can. If we say we'd get an armed robbery where we actually have a license plate or a partial license plate, that officer can manually input that plate, and it'll compare it to the reads we've already had on the car that day, and it will compare for the rest of the day.
Okay, well, what happens to the data received?
The data received at the end of our shift, we upload that to the SoSync computer servers. This data is available to all the law enforcement agencies that are participating for historical data and to compare to any crimes, hit, skip, accidents, the such.
Now, how long has it been in use so far?
April 1st is when the 29 units went live.
And how many reads have there been?
As of last week, we had 1.1 million reads off the 29 units.
Well, have there been any particular hits on those that we've done?
Hamilton officers have received 3 hits so far. We found a stolen vehicle parked on East Avenue in front of a house that alerted the officer. The officer said the vehicle had been sitting there, but it didn't draw any attention because it was sitting in front of the house. Nothing to make him want to look more into it. The reader read it, found a stolen vehicle out of Hillsborough that was verified, and we recovered the car. We also actually recovered a car that was stolen out of Hamilton that we had entered. I don't know the details of it, but we did recover this car.
Interesting, interesting. Well, Craig, I'm going to turn to you for the very last question. I get asked about this quite often, actually, and will the police department ever do another ride-along type of show? I think it was done, I've asked Steve, it was in 2003, they called it HPD, but it was a ride-along show where they follow the police around. We going to do another one of those?
Well, we're actually in discussion with TV Hamilton about that. We were approached recently and asked to update that show, HPD, and it did air in 2003. As the viewers may know, it was a ride-along show where a camera person from TV Hamilton was paired with an HPD officer, and just followed the officer around, throughout the evening, and basically captured a little bit about what an officer does during his tour, and what it's like, a night in the life of a Hamilton police officer. So Apparently it was very popular.
Apparently, yes.
And we are working out some details, but I think the viewers can expect an updated HPD show sometime this summer to air here on TV Hamilton.
All right, well, stay tuned to TV Hamilton. That's great. Well, gentlemen, thanks again for being here. And you at home, stay tuned, because up next we have a very special guest of the Hamilton Police Department. We'll be right back.
The Long Beach Police Department has recently acquired new technology that allows officers to automatically read license plates and compare them to wanted vehicle databases. This is called ALPR, or Automated License Plate Recognition. Each ALPR vehicle has 3 cameras mounted on the light bar that can read license plates in all weather and in complete darkness. Each camera contains both a color overview and infrared camera. The system compares plates to 4 databases at this time. We are searching for wanted felony vehicles, local wanted vehicles, stolen vehicles, and vehicles with lost or stolen license plates. If the system finds a match in a database, the officer will be alerted both visually and audibly. Now we want to get all the new information, all the stolen vehicles that are out in the field. So what we're going to do is we're just going to hit begin shift. The process is wireless. It's now uploading all the databases, and it's done. What we're seeing is typically between 3,000 and 4,000 plates a shift being read and compared to the database, opposed to the old way, which is just manually inputting plates on the computer. The quickest guy, I think we saw 150, 200 a shift. So you're comparing a lot of information that you normally just would have driven right by to databases. So basically, you're just cruising down the lot. You could be going 50 miles an hour, and it will read them. Obviously, the slower you go, the better, but it's pretty efficient. I'm going 80, and it's catching the cars going the opposite direction that I'm sure are going at least 80. And if you're driving along, and the computer actually sees the car, you'll get a hit. And it takes about 1 second from when the camera sees it to when it displays it on the screen. But it automatically pops up, so you don't have to worry about fumbling with the computer and all that kind of stuff. And to verify it, obviously, you just go back to your Tiburon screen. If something happens and you're on a call and say a 211 goes out, you have the ability to manually input plates into the system as well. To do that, what you'll do is you'll just hit manual plate entry. Let's do this truck up here. Call goes out. It's 7 Charles 65885, right? Hit plate.
No match in database.
There's no match in the system. We're just going to make a note. It's just going to be a test, but you can put whatever you wanted into there. Hit save. Now the next time you see it, he's going to turn off, but as soon as it sees the plate, the alarm will go off. And it gives you all the information that you inputted, gives you a picture of the car, the plate as it saw it, and then the plate as it interpreted it to be. The machine will keep every single read that you've collected until you downshift or end shift. Just hit the next button, and you can actually toggle through every single plate that you read. What's neat, this information is downloaded or uploaded to the server, or we can actually use it for data mining. So if you want to know, was this plate for Robert David Nora 096 seen in the city of Long Beach by one of our license plate readers, you can query the plate, and every single time it's been seen that we still have in the database, it'll bring up the picture and the information with the timestamp. It's not showing here, but we have a timestamp and a GPS coordinate, and you can map the location of the vehicle. So if you have a murder vehicle, a 187 vehicle with a plate that you have, you could query the system to see where in the past it's been seen.
But some technology may help officials solve another problem on campus: unpaid parking tickets. Denny Treese shows us how it works.
As Officer Bill Ayers drives through the parking lot, 2 cameras mounted on the vehicle, one on each side, take color pictures of each vehicle and an infrared picture of the license plate number. That goes into an automated license plate recognition system, or ALPR, and is matched against the UK parking database.
And I just drive along until I get a hit.
If the vehicle has 3 or more unpaid citations, Bill gets that signal that the vehicle needs to be checked out.
Something I like to run a 1029 on a Kentucky tag, 648 Edward Adam Paul. It's a white Volkswagen Jetta.
So it's just 3 outstanding.
We're told some UK students have actually piled up as many as 50 parking tickets in a single school year. And the percentage of repeat offenders may surprise you.
28% of our parking citations are issued to what we call persistent violators. And those are individuals that accumulate 6 or more parking citations in a fiscal year.
UK has never been able to make more money from parking tickets than it costs them to enforce the regulations, but they still feel it was worth purchasing the system.
We believe this adds value to the parking permits by helping to deter violators from parking in our permit-controlled parking lots.
If a violator has 2 or more delinquent tickets, this device is attached to their vehicle to make it undrivable. In Lexington, Denny Treese, WKYT 27 News First.
Well, my next guest is pretty well known here locally, but if the name Officer Robert Gentry doesn't sound familiar, I'm sure most of you will know him as Officer Bob of Safetytown. Officer Bob, thanks for being here.
Well, thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
Well, let's start by explaining what Safetytown is for those out there who don't know.
Okay, Safetytown is a week-long class that lasts 2 hours a day for children 4 and 5 years of age, and basically they're taught all safety aspects, what the red lights are, green lights, stop signs. They get to ride on little kit cars, which Greater Hamilton Safety Council owns, and it is a program for Greater Hamilton Safety Council, and we're just part of it as the police department.
And how old are the kids?
4 and 5 years old.
Okay, and so can you kind of take us through a typical week of Safetytown?
Well, it starts off on a Monday, and of course the horse Sydney goes on Monday.
Your horse,
right?
Sydney.
She's probably, if she ever gets a driver's license, I'll be out of a job, but. She shows up on Monday, and then we have a police cruiser come in and with the sirens and everything, and that's to teach the kids that sirens means help is on the way. That's not meant to scare little kids, because usually little kids are pretty well afraid of sirens right off the bat. Mm-hmm. And then they go over the rules. There's no running at Safetytown. We try to teach them how to walk single file. That was one of the things that the Hamilton school system, one of the teachers asked me, he said, boy, if we could just learn these kids to walk single file, our job would be so much easier. So we line them up single file, and we march every place, and then of course we take restroom breaks, and then they get to go out on Safetytown itself, where they get to ride the kit cars, and we make them all go the same direction. They have to be able to know what a stop sign is. S-T-O-P spells stop. We have them spell that. And of course, then I sing to them too, and I'm not that good of a singer. Yes.
All right, what do you sing to them?
Well, we have my favorite songs and my favorite things. My favorite song is "If All the Raindrops Were." I forgot the name of the song, but anyhow.
Sounds like something from Barney. I'm
yeah,
sure.
But Barney's my favorite guy. It's the Raindrop song. If all the raindrops were lemon drops and gumdrops,
there you go.
Oh, what a rain it would be.
I remember that.
Standing outside with my mouth open wide. And then it's really funny.
If you think I'm singing along with you, you can forget it.
Well, I have the guys that come down and replace me on the days that I can't make it there, and asked them to sing. A couple of them didn't want to. Then we have one that really likes to, but we'll try to have him take my place one of these days, maybe.
But anyway, the songs are all, everything's got a purpose.
Everything has a purpose. Everything teaches them unity. Everything teaches them how to sing together. I've noticed that a lot of times when kids first come to Safetytown, when they first come to Safetytown, they're either homeschooled, never been in nursery school yet, not accustomed to other kids, having to share, having to sit down, And then, of course, we go over all the programs, and it's like a review all week. We teach them how to ride on a school bus, back on the back, bottom on the bottom, feet towards the floor. If the school bus driver yells out, railroad, we hold 2 fingers up and cross your lips. That means they have to be quiet till they get across the railroad track. But I found out that most of these kids, all their lives, they've been taught how to ride in a car, put that seatbelt on. You can't move till the car, till you have your seatbelts on. Now all of a sudden we put them on a school bus,
And there's no seatbelts.
and no seatbelts, and they just get so excited and nervous and cry a little bit. But we tell them that if you sit back on the back, bottom on the bottom, feet towards the floor, and then the railroad sign, we found out that works, and pretty soon we have enough of our counselors, their junior counselors that help out from the schools, Baden, Hamilton High, Fairfield, Edgewood, Talawanda. We just go all over to get our helpers, and we usually have eight helpers that help us out. And if it wasn't for the kids helping me out, there's 36 of these little rascals. And believe me, some of them like to run the business, you know, and my whole family's went through it. It's a very good program, very good program. After we ride on the bus, we go across the railroad track naturally over on Eaton Avenue. We go to the firehouse. We do the smokehouse over there, tell the kids how to stop, drop, and roll,
Sure.
and how to climb down. And we found out that the younger kids don't know how to climb down a ladder. Let it be a string ladder or let it be a step ladder. But so we have the parents on Monday to have their kids practice walking up and down the ladder a little bit. Not very high, but just enough so that if they had to use a ladder to get out of a burning building, they would know how.
They've done it at least once.
At least
Sure.
once. And it's just one of the best things I like about it is to see how these little guys grow up. Now all of a sudden in the past 20 years that I've been involved in Safety Town, I'm getting their kids coming through, the little
I have
kids,
heard that.
the big
Yes,
kids.
absolutely.
And, but it's a great program, it really is.
Well, you said 20 years. So how did you get involved?
Well, when I retired back in 1991 as a full-time officer, I was going to be a school resource officer for the city of Hamilton and the police department. But what it started out to be on Mondays and Fridays ended up Monday through Friday, which was pretty good in the summertime. And they said, could I handle 36 little kids? I said, well, yeah, 36 little kids, that wouldn't be tough at all, you know, 4 and 5 years old. I will tell you this, my heart goes out to teachers that have these little kids, because sometimes they get so anxious and so upset and they want to be asking questions. We give them a question and answer time, but when I'm doing Safety Town, I try to ask the kids, when Officer Bob talks, nobody else talks. It just gets so quiet. Then we play my favorite game starting on 3, and they say, well, what's your favorite game, Officer Bob? That's, we're going to play Officer Bob's favorite game starting right now. Nobody makes a sound. Parents ask me if I can come home with them and stay with them to help them do that. But getting started with Safety Town was one of the features that they decided they wanted to do. It started under Chief Tom Knox and then went to Simon Fluckinger and now Chief Neil Fertelman.
And I know, because I guess a little bit of trivia, because Sydney is the horse you have now.
Yes.
And for those who were kids who are now bringing their kids, what was the name of the horse?
It was Cutter.
Cutter, okay.
Yeah, and Cutter passed away 3 years ago. He was 35 years old. So.
All right. Well, you know, in everybody in the 12 years I've been with the city, everybody knows who Officer Bob is. Right. But I'm just wondering, can you tell us a little bit about Officer Bob personally?
Well, I started on the police department in 1962 as a 21-year-old kid. And they gave me I worked with somebody for 3 weeks, and then they put me out by myself. And
training was?
Training was 3 weeks.
Training was 3 weeks.
That was it. And they gave me a ticket book and a nightstick and a traffic unit. They said, we'll make you a traffic officer. And of course, I was writing a ticket, and my first ticket that I wrote was to an older man. And of course, I was just a young kid, and he pled not guilty and went to court in front of Frank Wessel, who was judge at that time. And that ticket looked like a chicken scratching. And the judge told me, he says, Officer Gentry, he says, if you can read this ticket, I'll find that man guilty. I said, sir, I can't read it either. But the guy did show up for court, and he dismissed the case. But I did improve my handwriting. I really did.
Well, thank goodness.
Okay.
So what else about Officer Bob? I mean,
well, I was married. I married my childhood sweetheart, and
married for how long?
We like 2 weeks being married, 50 years. She passed away 2 years ago this month.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And a tragic event. It's one of them things, but learning how to be by yourself. When I was at home, my mom did my laundry. When I was gone, my mom did my laundry, and then I got married, and my wife did my laundry. The hardest thing for me after my wife passed away was having to learn how to do my laundry. And I didn't know she worked that hard on it.
But you said your kids help out a lot too.
My kids do. If it wasn't for them, they think I can't cut grass, that I can't take care of the animals at home. I've got one little dog that I dearly love. I'm not a professional dog lover. I've been bit 29 documented times by dogs that don't bite, and now I've got a little ankle biter, but she's
there. You go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about other safety initiatives you're involved in. I know there were several things that we want to let our viewers know you do.
I do, at the beginning of the school year, every year I do pedestrian training for kindergarten and first graders. And what it basically amounts to is we teach these kids how to cross the street at the crosswalk, explain what a crosswalk is. They stand on a corner, it's an outside adventure, and I have a portable traffic light that I pull around, set up, has a walk light on it, red's on top, it always means stop, green's below, it always means go, and yellow's in the middle to help you a little to caution and slow down. Now, where I got that saying from was from my two granddaughters, older granddaughters, and and we were on our way to the Cincinnati Reds baseball game, and they was aggravating Grandpa, Officer Bob, and I said, do something constructive here. They come up with that poem, and I use it now, and it's got national acclaim now too. So.
Well, what else?
And school year right now, I'm doing stranger danger gun safety program, and after all the kids, that's preschool, kindergarten, first, second, and third grade. They listen to about the stranger danger and gun safety. Stranger danger, never go with a stranger. You say no, get away from them, don't get close, don't go close. I'm telling them not to get close to a stranger. It's still okay to say hi, but just don't get close. Don't go close to a car. The gun safety is if you see a gun in any room of your home, your grandparents' home, or a friend's home, you stop, do not touch, leave the area, and tell an adult. Now, I've had some parents say that I'm teaching their kids gang signs. That's definitely not gang signs.
No, I wouldn't think so. Well, now let's talk about Safety Town for this year. How many weeks?
It's 5 weeks. The first 2 weeks have already been filled.
Okay.
And to get an application for Safety Town, you can get them at the Greater Hamilton Safety Council, at the Hamilton Police Department at the front desk, at McDonald's located in Hamilton.
All right, and I believe that Steve's going to go ahead and put the dates up on the screen for the dates that remain. So, but anyway, well, Officer Bob, thanks for being here.
I appreciate you having me here.
No, thank you very much. And if you at home have a question that you would like to ask of someone in the city, or if you want to suggest a topic for a show, go ahead and write me. The numbers will be there on your screen. And certainly we'd like to thank the good folks here at TV Hamilton. TV Hamilton, hometown television with a personal touch. And from all of us at CityVision, thanks for watching.